evening, everyone, and welcome to the APAT Show. It's Sunday evening, and I, for one, am stoked. We're going to be talking football tonight. We're going to be talking poker, of course. We've got a lot of other stuff to cover off as well. We've got a guest, albeit he's partly here. He's here in a ghostly sort of way. Lee, what can you tell us about tonight's guest?
His webcam's bust.
That's all you need to know.
We don't need to worry about it because everybody knows Asa. He's been on the show plenty of times. So a warm welcome back to a very happy Asa McGrath.
Just slightly, yes. Good evening, gents.
I reckon, Lee, he's deliberately broken his webcam so he can have that picture of him with all those bracelets and medals. That's what I think's going on there.
Yeah, absolutely. Alongside, a very happy and celebratory Manchester City squad, I reckon, today. Although there's more backroom staff at the Etihad than there are players. It's insane.
He's gone quiet. He's gone quietly.
It makes it, I think Pep's always said he does. It's the team that makes everything work. So, I'm quite happy.
Well, listen, we do intend to talk about football today. Today was indeed a defining day in the Premier League, but also not only in the Premier League. It's been a defining day in Italy for Champions League places. As we speak, I think Lille are probably about to take the French title from PSG, which...
We think it's done.
We think it's done? In which case, if it's done, then what a slap in the face to Mr. Pochettino that is. And of course, there were Champions League places up for grabs. No relegation today, which was rather a shame. The relegation battle is one of the great last day sort of experiences to have in the Premier League. None of that today, but a lot of other stuff besides to talk about. Why don't we start with the poker, Lee? So what are the guys playing and who's currently sort of high up on the leaderboard?
Yeah, so it's the leaderboards as always on a Sunday. 4 events on a Sunday night. Currently near top of the leaderboard. Tony Ross is up there again on step 5. Tony's we might. Should we just set a direct debit up?
We could do that. Whatever you do, Lee, don't release step 6. Okay, do not release step 6.
We definitely won't. But Brenda Byrne is also currently second in the leaderboard going into today. Gordon MacArthur has quietly been sneaking up the steps. He's on step 4 at the moment, and he's in the top 20. Di Farrell is on step 3, and she's in the top 20 this week as well, as is Gary Young. Plenty of others as well. So 4 events tonight. One's already completed, started at 5 o'clock. That's a Sunday deep stack. 68 runners in that. Prize pool of $750. It was won by I'd love to say friend of the show, but he's never been on this, but he has played a load of APAT during lockdown with us. Wando Santos Wandami from Brazil won tonight, picked up $224. So well done to him. Antonio Carini from Germany in second, and Stefan Trum from Germany in third. Very well done to them. Main event, usual thing, Des, $2,500 guarantee. We've smashed that. $3,204 in the prize pool. Good. 107 runners, paying top 17. We're down to 9. So we are pretty much there on a final table. Would you be surprised to hear if I said somebody on that final table is a certain Richard King?
The Chocolate King is back again.
Would that come as a surprise to you?
It doesn't surprise me at all. It does not surprise me at all.
Eddie Niaksu's also there. Sarah Spillings from the UK is also a second in chips in that one. The PLO main event just got past the guarantee tonight, so $1,020 in there, paying top 6. We're down to 7 in that as well. There's a certain young Stephen Forty in that final.
Really great
playing tonight. So nice to see you back playing some APAT, Stephen. Hope you are well. And finally, start at 9 o'clock. It's a Sunday Turbo Knockout, $500 guarantee bet, as you all know. We never worry about that because it's $760 in there, 76 runners. We are down to 35 and we're paying top 13. So we'll keep you abreast of all the poker. But obviously, as much as the poker's going on, we want to have a good chat about the football tonight because it's kind of been the end of what's been a bit of a crazy, jammed in, ram-packed sort of season. And it's not over yet, obviously, because we have Euro. Or what are we calling it? Are we calling it Euro 2020 or 2021?
I think it's I think it's been called Euro 2020. I think it's a delayed Euro 2020.
Is that what they're calling it?
I think so, yeah. Because otherwise you might end up, I guess there should be 4 years between these tournaments, right? So suddenly, do we move to 2025?
I saw something during the week that they are running a some sort of program to work into whether they should be making the World Cup every 2 years.
No. What the hell is wrong with these people?
Some Middle East country has come up with a proposal and they've said, well, it's worth looking into. So they're currently looking into that, apparently, I read during the week, which seems a bit crazy.
No. I mean, these things are special because they come around not so often. And of course, you've got to remember, I mean, particularly if you're from Europe, you've got the Euros every 2 years, or effectively every 2 years. You get the Euros, this year, generally you get a World Cup 2 years later. So you got a major international tournament every 2 years, and you got the Olympics somewhere in there as well. So, one major summer event, I think, is what you need. They can't clash like that. It'd be absolutely mad. Absolutely mad. So, Asa, how was the season for you? You've won it, and in some style. Did it surpass expectations? I mean, who has come out of City as, a player who's performed beyond expectations? Anybody let you down or disappointed you a bit? How was your season?
It was quite an interesting season, obviously. The fact that we did start so poorly. Obviously, there was quite a bit of a hangover from the season before. As we pretty much all know now, City didn't really have an off-season. And you could certainly see them suffer in the first 6 to 8 weeks of the season with that. Mm-hmm. When we bought Diaz, and it took obviously 2 to 3 games for him to settle. Once he settled, we just looked solid. And that gave the rest of the team confidence. To go forward. A bit like Liverpool missing Van Dijk, it's the same scenario in my eyes. If he was there, they'd have more confidence to play forward, knowing he was there at the back. In terms of who stood out, Gundogan by a mile.
Yeah,
that run we went on when De Bruyne wasn't available through injury. Everyone's put De Bruyne in the team of the year, and yet he's not. I don't think he's played 60%. I think he's played 60% of the games. I'd say Gundogan had a bigger impact on our season, even though obviously De Bruyne is a world-class player. Disappointments, Jesus. I'd say
he's been an ongoing disappointment, isn't he? Really?
Well,
He's always been in the shadow of Aguero and just never felt. Yes, he gets goals and kind of is there, but he never feels like he's ever pushed on from what you would have hoped. But you signed him as a 19-year-old?
Yeah, very, very young.
The thing about him though is that as you said, Lee, he always scores goals, right? So he does chip in, but perhaps his patchy form has led to City almost inventing a new way to play football. They've got like a false 9, a false 10, and a false 11. It's like they've regularly played without a striker, and it seems to have worked incredibly well for them. They've got great sort of flexibility around the box, great agility, skill, and no shortage of people who are able to finish the ball off. So, there's all talk about City maybe signing Harry Kane, maybe signing Haaland, possibly one of the other big names, maybe a Messi. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure that City need an out-and-out sort of number 9. What do you think, Asa?
I think we could do with one. So there's always situations where you want a striker to aim for, or play through. Aguero showed today one ball into the box with a cracking header. What a striker can do. True. I don't expect De Bruyne to be able to do that. For example, there's a word that was used in the aftermath of the game today, which is fluidity. And that's something we've seen so much from City in the last, certainly since December. And everyone talks about the game against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, where we were just outstanding for 75 minutes. And we've kicked on from that. And that's because we had the fluidity and the right amount of movement and the right amount of possession to do what we need to do with the ball.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see whether, if you're saying that you think, the way you played this year, whether having an out-and-out number 9 would effectively be a plan B when plan A is not working. And to be fair, plan A has worked a lot of the time for you this season. I guess the question is then whether signing a Harry Kane or a Haaland, they're not going to want to sit and be a plan B for Man City. They're going to, they're the type of players that are expecting not the team to be built around them, but to be, a focal point of that team. I actually think Messi would be a better fit for you. And if Messi decides to make the decision, actually, I'm going to fancy a change from Barcelona, Man City would just be perfect for him, and he would just fit into that fluid front line where you don't play with a number 9. Although you are favourites to sign Kane, so
yeah, and I don't understand that because I don't think he'd fit in our system very well. I think we'd be buying him to stop United buying him, kind of.
To be fair, we've done that with a few players in the past few years.
It's not really worked.
It's got to be a lot of cash in this case to do that.
It's not worked, is it at all? But we spoke about this. Funnily enough, this is what's crazy. So this time last week, Des and I were chatting about Harry Kane. Would he move, and then of course, boom, this whole story kicked off on, I think it was Monday morning.
I remember sending you a WhatsApp. Look what we did. We did that.
Look what's happened. Yeah, we were just randomly talking about it on the show. And the point I made with United was I'm not sure whether we'd spend 150 million or whatever it is that Levy thinks Kane is worth. I don't see us doing that at all, which is why you've got the papers at the moment concocting any sort of possible swap deal. We're gonna give them Martial, Lingard, use of the private jet, and Barbara that does the burgers in the van around the back. For a season.
Don't transfer out Barbara.
No, but it feels like they'll just try and concoct anything together to make it. I think what was the latest one? It was yesterday. Was United were planning a package that will compensate Kane for anything that he loses out for if he asks for a transfer. Well, I think he's as good as kind of done that. I don't know whether you watched the
Gary Neville thing,
the Gary Neville golfing interview.
Great scoop. It's like his agent has set this up with Sky. It was an amazing piece of coordinated work.
Incredible, really, to say the least. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But I think it's going to be a fascinating summer because arguably there's 3 strikers that are potentially available this summer because Mbappe seems uncertain at PSG, and to be honest,
he's coming to Liverpool.
Is that really? You all you're doing a crowdfunding for that one, are you, Des?
Listen, that can't go out into the newspapers tomorrow, guys. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's just between us. Yeah. So, but if you had the choice of an Mbappe or a Kane or a Haaland, Asa, and you've got the funds, because basically, anyone that's looking at those is going to have the funds probably to buy any of the 3. Which one would you pick?
Oh, I wouldn't buy Kane. I'd say that. I'll come straight out and say that. For me to fit our system, probably Mbappe. But I'd be more excited about Haaland.
He's just saying that to wind me up.
No. Genuinely, I think he would fit our system better in terms of how we play. But I also know, watching what Haaland can do, I think he's young enough to certainly put the work rate in that Pep will demand, which I don't think Kane will, if I'm absolutely honest.
It's interesting because I think Kane would hit the ground running with you. I think that's one of the things that makes him attractive. He's proven year in, year out in the Premier League. But interestingly enough, one of the reasons that I hear people saying Kane and Man City might not be a good fit is because Kane really, for the last 5, 6, 7 years at Spurs, has almost been the tip of the arrow of a one-man team to a degree. And he'll be anything but that at City. He'll just be another player. And he has the potential to score a lot of goals for them. But I don't think that'll make him more important to City than a De Bruyne or a Sterling in form or a Gundogan. So the question is whether Kane can step back into, just being another player. That might be his challenge. I think Haaland's the most interesting one because... he is an uncut diamond, but he's an uncut diamond that's hit 40 goals in Germany this season. So who knows how he could do in the Premier League?
And
he could come in and break all of the records, couldn't he?
And the City fan.
Is he a City fan? I
He's
thought he was a
City
Leeds fan. Is he a City fan?
No. He's a City fan. He's been pictured very often wearing both Leeds and City, but
so he's a Leeds fan then.
Nah.
His dad only played there for 2 years, right? He's got horrific memories of City.
I thought Ollie Solskjaer was like a father figure
Best
to
mate.
him, like a second father. I mean, that's what I thought.
Hey, Erling, come sign for me, man. Now hold on, that was slightly Jamaican Scandinavian there. That went a bit wrong. We'll cut that. We'll cut that from the on-demand version of the show. But he was saying, you know, he was sort of in contact and, you know, all of this stuff. But I can't see Haaland going to Man United because of the agent and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, it gets messy with United and agents at the moment. I can't quite see that. I think that there is a possibility. As much as I don't think we'll pay the sort of money for Kane. I think ultimately, if Kane is offered to you, for where United are at the moment, for to be guaranteed goals for the next 3, 4, 5 years in the Premier, I think you basically move heaven and earth to find a way of financing it and make it happen. Ultimately, it might put some of our other plans on hold, because I do think we do need to sign a right-sided attacker. Although interestingly, Ahmad played today. I mean, the United side today was pretty much our second string, and they actually, for the first time all season, when we put out a number of the second 11, they looked really good.
Wow.
They did look really, really good. And I don't know whether that's because they were paying with no fear and no issues, just it's the last game of the season and whatever. But actually, they really looked quite special at times, which is a good sign.
Yeah, I could see United, splurging out on a big player. And I think City sort of hold the cards to a degree. So I think, depending on who they plump for as to what will happen elsewhere. But I could certainly see United spending out on a big striker. The timing, of course, is very United-like over the last 7 years, in that they've just done this deal with Cavani, who's played exceptionally well, particularly in the second half of the season. I think he's looked absolutely fabulous for them. So they've just signed him onto a new contract, and as a commitment to him, obviously a senior player who'll want to play. If you were to then sign a Harry Kane, that would create. I think your Mr. Uruguay would be very upset with that.
Yeah, I think so. But ultimately, he's not going to be the future of the club. I'd love him to be around for another year, because I think the youngsters can learn so much from him. His movement is just incredible. But I guess it's a case of, do you turn down Harry Kane because you've got Cavani for a season? No, you probably don't, do you? That's probably not sensible. But at the same time, we'll see. I mean, one of the youngsters that played today was Hannibal Mebry, who's just been named, I think he's under 21s, under 23 player of the season. So he got a run out for the last 10 minutes. I hope he makes it, just because can you imagine the amazing headlines Hannibal will create?
He's been compared to Luis Suarez. I mean, very impressive.
Really?
God.
Hey, Asa, what about Raheem? What's going on with Mr. Sterling?
Oh, he for some reason his confidence has gone rock bottom.
Why do you think is that?
Not a clue. I honestly think that if you look back at where Raheem was at the top of his game and where it is now, there's one difference at City in all that time. The current Arsenal manager.
Arteta, you think looked
after
while he was there?
Arteta was basically made Sterling his personal project while he was at City. Just basically stayed with him, just breeding confidence. And it doesn't seem like someone's taken that on after he's gone. But Sterling's always been that one player you always thought is a one-on-one. It's like he could either score an amazing goal here, or he's just going to hit the keeper.
Yeah.
And he's always been that player. When he's got no time to think, he's brilliant. When he's got time to think, he's not. And that he's very instinctive player. And this year he's had more time to think.
At the moment, I'm not sure whether he'd make it into the England starting
No.
11.
No, not at all.
On current form.
I have to say, I have been massively, massively impressed with Foden. I think he's got a gear that, even though he's impressing everybody over the last couple of years and developing at a rapid rate of knots, but he's got a turn in him that is, it's quite unique. He's very, very fleet-footed. His balance is exceptional. I've been super impressed with. I've also been super impressed by Mason Mount. I think he's had a great season at Chelsea. So, I mean, as far as England are concerned and as far as, sort of these younger creative players are concerned, there seems to be a lot of them there. So Raheem might not get into that first 11. And it'll be interesting how he'll react to perhaps not being an automatic first pick, both with City or indeed with England. It'll be really interesting to see how that one goes. Now, listen, guys, I've got a bit of a scoop for you here. It's not football oriented. It can't be football oriented because this guy supports Middlesbrough, right? So obviously football. But,
fair enough.
But I was about to say, if you wasn't wondering where we've got incoming, Des, we've got incoming.
Yeah, but our own Stuart Ward. Let's see if we can get him on the screen. This could be anything could happen here. I have to say that. Oh, there he is. He's going to have to move slightly. We're all going to have to move slightly because there's an extra person there.
Hey, that's very good. That's neat. Very neat. Evening, Stu. How are you doing?
Hello. How are we all?
Hey.
I'm well.
You're going to have to move. You're going to have to move slightly, Stu.
Let me just lean over. No, the other way. That way.
There you go. Yeah. If you could just continue the lean. If you could do the lean. What we call the...
It was a 50-50, yeah? I mean...
and I managed to pick the wrong one. So story of my day.
Stu, this might not surprise you. We're talking a bit of football. We'll be talking about City, and congratulations, Asa, on their win today. No surprise
well done.
there.
Very happy with that.
So just sort of moving on a bit from City. We've been talking about United. Lee, it's been a great season, right? I mean, that's been a major step forward in terms of recent seasons, shall we say. Can they continue on the upward trend, do you think, next season?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I wasn't expecting us to be where we were now, but I think it's just been a really, really strange season, all in all. And City have just managed to come out of the pack after before Christmas and just went on a ridiculous run. I think Pep said it in his interview where they just they went about 2 or 3 months where they won every single game. Didn't drop in every competition. Didn't drop anything. But I think United we're in a nice position. We need to strengthen, as we've already mentioned. But we're not a million miles off City. I think we're talking about kind of six draws. We drew games and City won games this season. That's the difference basically. And I think we're learning as we go, and we've got a reasonably young squad, and certainly from a Premier League point of view, it's a young squad that's still finding its feet and learning where it goes, with plenty of youngsters coming through, and I think we've got money to spend.
Do you think our McTominay and Fred strong enough to be midfield too? So they're going to have to do a bit of surgery this summer, right? It can't just be about the forward line. I mean, they've got to find some real strength in the middle, and they've got to sort out the Pogba position once and for all, haven't they?
Well, this is the problem we've got, is that we seem to play with these two holding midfielders, and as much as we would love to see Donny van de Beek or Pogba play in one of those two positions, so we can be a bit more offensive and fit in all of our attacking players that we want to do. The reality of it is that's just not a thing. They certainly don't screen the back four well enough for us when you do that. What I will say for McTominay and Fred, when they're both playing, and he tends to pick them in the big games, we are far more stronger defensively with those two players. And McTominay's just quietly goes about his business. I mean, I think it might be his first season when Mourinho was there, said he'd have given McTominay his player of the season. When he broke into the first 11, maybe a bit tongue in cheek, but actually he's a very, very consistent player. I've never understood quite how Fred gets in the team. He gives the ball away so many times. It's just,
he does.
just ridiculous.
He does. He had a horrible game against Liverpool, I have to say. Just having looked at him pretty close.
Just horrible. And that's not what I think we need. When you look at the real top teams, what City have got in those positions, what Liverpool have got in those positions, we're not, and Chelsea as well. We're not at the races when it comes to that.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're a million miles off, pushing on again. And that's all I think we can do. I mean, what City and Liverpool have done in the past 2 or 3 seasons really raised the bar for for the Premier League. Yes, this season's Liverpool have not had the greatest, but there's reasons for that. And City's points tally was never going to be. I think it just was the no fans in. Everything was just everything was up in the air a little bit this year. But very much, I think United are heading in the right direction. Like what Ollie's doing, seems to have got the squad together. Ned doesn't seem to have many issues. Pogba seems to even kind of have come on board, which if you'd have said to me 12 months ago, I'd have said, let's get what money we can from him and get shot. But actually he looks happy.
Yeah, the only concern I have with Ollie, who I think's done actually a really good job, and he's been a calming influence in there, but the only concern I would have with him is that there's definitely a pretty chunky part of the fan base that will turn on him after a relatively small sequence of bad results, right? So he hasn't really had that pressure this season because generally speaking, they've been very consistent. They've done well. But they were quick to turn on him last season. There were quite a few people that sort of were starting to talk Ollie out and stuff like that. So I just wonder if, for example, they had a tricky start to next season. And remember, City had a pretty poor start to this season, despite the fact that they've run away with the title. They've lost, 6 games, I think. So they were pretty far off the top in December. But if United had that same difficult start next season, I just wonder whether, in fact, there wouldn't be unrest.
Oh, I'm not sure, Des, to be honest. We've lost 6 games at home this season. Our 6 defeats this season have all come at home. Very early on this season, we got smashed 6-1 by Spurs.
Yeah.
And I didn't see too much negativity from the fans. I think there's an awareness that Ollie was sorting out what the mess that was that had been created by 3 previous managers, and to be perfectly honest, came from the squad that was left by Fergie in his last season, because he left a very aging squad when he picked up his last title and said and literally went, there you go. Somebody can deal with that. And it's taken, 7 or 8 years to actually get it back there. And he's cleared out, you think of who's moved on from that squad that were causing problems and were being paid ridiculous wages.
Some
dross there.
And you now seem to have this kind of, this unity. And that's what you need. Asa will, say to you with the City squad, you said before with Liverpool squad last year. And even when, and it doesn't take much. I mean, see, even you take the Wijnaldum situation at Liverpool, it starts muddying waters, doesn't it? It doesn't take much for people to say, well, why wouldn't he want to stay there? Why is he looking to move on? And and people start talking. So it's very easy for squad, the positivity in the squad to be affected. But I think Ollie's done a good job of bringing that together. I like the coaching staff that he's got there. They all seem to have a plan of what they want to do, and we're buying younger players that have got potential moving forward. They won't all make it, but we seem to be going about.
That Cavani lad's a good up and comer, isn't he?
Isn't he? Yeah, I think he might. He might have a future, Stu. I really do think he might.
I mean,
but again, there's an interesting. I don't know. It was on Talk Sport, which Simon Jordan was talking about it and saying, though, when you can sign those players that are 32, 33, 34 on a free transfer, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
because they've been there, they've done it, and you're not looking at a resale value or what would they be worth in 2 years' time.
Yeah.
Yes, you might pay over the odds wages for them, but you're not paying a transfer fee. So Thiago Silva going to Chelsea is a perfect example. I mean, Aguero. So Aguero's off now at the end of the season. City aren't going to get a fee for him. They've had 10 years out of him, but he's not. He's not literally going, I'm going to go and play in the States. I mean, there's talk. Is the Barcelona deal done, Asa? Is that a done deal? Or
everything I've heard is he's got to Barcelona.
So I mean, Barcelona aren't. They're not. they obviously feel that they can get a couple of years worth of play out of Aguero. So those opportunities are there.
I was being a little bit facetious as usual, but
Were you?
yeah, really.
Well, what do you think, Stu? What do you think of United? And it is after the watershed, so go for it.
The key word that Lee was using there is squad, and City have the best squad by a country mile in the Premier League. By a country mile, they've got like two players. They've got a player for every position, like two of them that will walk into pretty much every team in the league.
And they're all 20 or 30 or 40 million.
Yeah.
It's like,
let me. Okay, so can I throw something into this before you carry on any further? So, and I don't know whether this was reported incorrectly, but there was an article on BBC Sport during the week from Jurgen Klopp, and he'd come out and said if City had Liverpool's injuries this season, they wouldn't have won the title.
Well, he specifically said if they'd had our injuries at centre back. So we have played throughout the season with our 6th and 8th ranked centre backs.
When Liverpool won the league, did they not have a golden run all season with injuries where they've got no injuries all season and City and other teams were
City only
completely
had one injury
decimated
last season. They lost their centre back, right?
Was
it Laporte's last season, Ace said that City lost? I think it was.
Yeah.
And
much.
it destroyed their season.
Yeah, but it's Jurgen Klopp making excuses for Liverpool not doing well. Every team gets injuries. Liverpool got injuries; they didn't win the league because the squad wasn't strong enough.
I thought if it was reported correctly, and that's exactly what he said, I did feel it came across a little bit bitter.
Yeah, no, he was talking about the centre back. Well, I saw the interview. No issues.
But what was interesting, Des, is you say we've been playing with our 6th and 8th centre back. You've not had 5 centre backs injured this season.
No.
I mean, and my argument.
Shall we go through them? Van
Stu?
Dijk, Matip, Gomez, Fabinho then played at centre back. Henderson played at centre back.
Yeah, but they're not centre back.
They're your midfielders.
So therefore, your squad's not as strong. That's what I was saying. Your squad's not as strong.
But hold on. Are we saying that everybody should have 5 or 6 50 million pound centre backs?
But the point is that he was making the suggestion that if Man City had the injuries that Liverpool had, then they wouldn't have won the title. When Stu made the reason I brought that in now is because when Stu made the comment, they've got 2 for every position. Look at their 4 centre backs that City have got. They've got 4 world class centre backs in Stones, Diaz, Laporte, and who's the 4th?
We haven't got 4th.
Ake.
Ake's all right.
Yeah. But well, okay, maybe not world class. But
but he's a centre back,
proper Premier League.
You're not ramming a centre midfielder in there.
But do we think they'd have won the league if they'd lost all of those players?
But to lose all 4. This is the point: is I don't think they would, because if they'd lost 3 like you did, then they'd have still had 1, and they'd have probably gone and spent again in January. I'm guessing Asa and
or we'd have put Fernandinho there like we did last season.
What Liverpool did with
Liverpool have 2 starting centre backs, Then that's my point. Their squad isn't good enough.
So you're absolutely right, but nobody can match City for spending power, right? So nobody can have the squad that City has. But I think what happened with Liverpool was they lost 3, their 3 sort of best centre backs with Matip, Gomez and Van Dijk. They've ended up putting Fabinho back there. They've lost a ton of muscle in midfield as a result of that. Then Henderson has been put back there with Fabinho. I mean, it's a nonsense.
It's a knock-on effect.
They don't have the strength.
It is a knock-on effect.
They lost their spine. The spine of their side disappeared.
So my question for you is, okay, then, so would Joel Matip get into City's team ahead of any of the other 3 centre-backs that you've named there? No, because he's not that good at that level.
I don't know, Stu. I mean, at the end of the day, he's played plenty of times for Liverpool in the Championship winning season, and he's played extremely well. I'd have no queries with Joel Matip.
I think Joe Gomez is decent, but he's got a lot to learn. Obviously, Van Dijk's Van Dijk, and to say Liverpool haven't got spending power when they've spent the 7,000 trillion pound
I think Liverpool's absolutely amazing Championship winning season. I mean, the defenders, yes, they were on mark and did, but actually, you were banging so many goals the other end.
Absolutely.
I don't think teams were having to,
And City had an off season.
Well, they didn't. They lost a centre back. That's what happened. So why did they have an off season? The only player really that City lost last season was Laporte, and every other week it was they're really, really missing Laporte.
And now they've rectified that situation.
Find us another reason. And Kevin De Bruyne was like very close to being Footballer of the Year that season. I think, in fact, he might have won one of the 2 awards. So he certainly didn't have an off season. You know,
but
at the end of the day,
Jurgen Klopp's comment, I just think, is a little bit wrong, because if Liverpool lost 2 centre backs, or 3 centre backs,
we're playing with our 6th and 8th centre backs, Stu, since December.
But that's because Liverpool's squad.
Do you know what I mean? They're kids.
Enough.
Reece Williams never played first team football before this season. Nat Phillips was farmed out to Germany.
Interview. Was the interview? Because I just thought it was a really weird thing. The week that
he was talking about the centre backs. Yeah, and he said it in a very good spirited way.
I just thought it was really weird for him to come out and say that. I
didn't
know whether it had been spun differently or whether actually genuinely that is what he said.
You're definitely getting an interpretation of it there.
Okay.
He was simply saying, you know, I mean, Klopp is a massive fan of Guardiola. You know, he thinks he's brilliant, and he is. And I think Klopp would be the first to admire the way that Guardiola has, switched his team to being able to play without a striker. It's bloody amazing what I think City have done this season without a striker. It's incredible. Guardiola, very creative. Klopp, a big fan, no question there. The comment related to the fact that he was sort of saying, look, I don't think City would have won the league if they'd lost the number of centre-backs that we've lost this year. And
I would have been a lot more impressed with Jurgen Klopp if you just kind of said, City are a damn good team. They've won the league. Well done to them. Stop making excuses.
I think he's done that plenty of times, Stu.
But I think what you're doing, and then to say, "Oh, this is like my biggest ever achievement, coming 3rd or 4th in the league."
To be fair,
it's nonsense.
Mourinho did that when we finished 2nd, if you remember, and at the time everybody went, "What are you talking about?"
Exactly. But you can't say that, Jurgen Klopp.
But then 2 or 3 years later, actually, some people looked at it and went, well, actually, maybe it was quite impressive.
No, but there's this thing in football where you're not allowed to, say anything about Jurgen Klopp because he smiles a lot and hugs his players and stuff and says boom on TV and things. It's like...
You say anything you want. Say anything you want.
For me, Guardiola is like... he's the best manager in the world.
Well, hold on. You're being a little bit at mixed sort of signals here. You're saying he's got the deepest squad in world football.
Yeah.
He spent over £1 billion. So
how much money did Liverpool spend to win the title?
Listen, tell me what teams he's managed and where he's had to develop players.
Okay, then, fair enough. But tell me what Jurgen Klopp's won.
What he's won? Well, he won the Premier League and the Champions League in the last 2.
And the Premier League, yeah.
Did he win with Dortmund?
No, okay.
Yes, he must have won
Klopp,
with Dortmund.
Klopp has never gone to teams with big money. And if you look at Liverpool's net spent, Everton have spent more money. West Ham have spent more money net than Liverpool in the 5 years that Klopp's been there.
Yeah, because Liverpool got a massive sum for an overrated player, which is fair enough. Yeah, it's well done.
Oh, Coutinho. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, the reality is that's the reality. That's a fact.
Don't tell me they've not spent money when they spent £100 million on a centre back.
Well, it was 70 million. It looks like a really good buy now. They probably sell them for double that today.
I'm a Middlesbrough fan. We're getting Junior Hoylett on a free transfer. Don't talk to me about transfer fees.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But no, but it's like
honestly, I don't.
Yeah,
we haven't even started talking about Liverpool yet.
Listen,
guys, I'll tell you what we do. Look, to take the pressure cooker of football discussion away, I want to change the subject slightly because we're shortly going to finish the poker. And I want to have
I was going to say, I should just quickly say that we are down to 3 in the main event tonight. Oscar Neto is currently chip leader from Brazil, and we've got James Ball and Sarah Spillings from the UK battling against Oscar. So we're down.
Fantastic. Well, let me do this really quickly. Guys, I don't know if you've seen it yet or if you've seen trailers or whatever, but a movie has popped up on Netflix that has everything in it that I love. It's got action. It's got Las Vegas. It's got money. It's got zombies. Army of the Dead, right? So it popped up on Friday night. Watch this movie. Absolutely amazing. I'm going to run the short trailer rather than the long trailer because of our time. Just catch a load of this.
They're smarter, they're faster, they're organized.
We're gonna have some fun, yeah?
Let's go.
It's heavy, brother. Army of the Dead. Rated R.
Oh, guys, it doesn't do it justice. It is such a big movie. So,
but I have a bit of an issue with it.
oh, have you seen it? Have you read up, or what have you got, Lee?
Oh, just
Go on.
they dumped a big shipping container on Brighton Beach on the weekend to promote it, and made a right mess.
Did they? Did
Made
they?
a right mess. Yeah.
Who was under the shipping container at the time?
No, so seriously, on Friday, there's this shipping container
did they?
landed on Brighton. If you go and check it out, and it's
No
the
way.
doors are all broken, and it's got like kind of radiation signs on it and all kind of thing. And they were doing a big promo thing over the weekend at Brighton. Yeah.
Listen, no spoilers, okay? No spoilers. But there's a zombie apocalypse that takes place within the corridor of Las Vegas, right? So a circle of Las Vegas has a zombie apocalypse happening in there. So it's an immediate area that we're very familiar with. A lot of fun. There's some money stuck within the zombie space, right? It's in there, and a bunch of people have to go in and try and get the money out. So it becomes a bit of a caper from there. But lots of, Vegas iconography, casinos.
Is there any rumor? Is there any rumor that they actually just filmed this at 4 a.m. downtown when APAT were there?
Well, I wondered whether they filmed it at the break-in at Dusk Till Dawn. If in fact that's what had happened up there, maybe not. But great movie.
I saw that
Would
this week.
recommend it.
Yeah, I saw that this week at Dusk Till Dawn. That's
Daft.
very sad.
Terrible to see. But if you're into zombie movies and Las Vegas, as I'm sure some of the guys that watch us are.
To be honest, I wonder where you were
recommended.
going. I thought you were about to play the trailer for the Friends Reunited reunion thing.
Are
That's
friends
next week.
reuniting? OMG, I'll try and stay away from that one. It's been a
Have
while.
you not? Oh, you're missing
Really?
a right treat. Yeah,
It's not a Friends
that-
episode, though.
it's,
They were very clear on that. It's just
It's
just getting a bunch of old people together now.
It's just a get together, isn't it?
With James Corden.
Oh, but why wouldn't he be there? Christ's sake. You can't move without seeing his bloody face, man.
Guys, what about West Ham? Good season, right? Hell of a
Very
turnaround.
impressed.
Yeah, hell of a-
Amazed by it, but very impressed.
Will the Europa League kill them? Because this is going to be a classic example of a squad that just simply isn't deep enough to manage all those Thursday
And
night
the
games.
problem is you never feel the owners are ever going to invest
Yeah.
in the nicest possible way.
Now is the time for taking money out, right? Because we're on the
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, you always feel with them, it's a case of they got the ridiculously good deal for the Olympic Stadium, so they can now potentially fill that and do very well financially, and at some point will look to sell up and move on. Maybe that's being unfair to them, but I always kind of feel that's the impression I get.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, it's not that many seasons ago when was it Burnley did them over 3-0 at
Oh,
their
yeah,
place,
yeah,
and it pretty much kicked off in the stadium.
Oh, yeah.
I've been down there. It's a really not a great stadium to watch football in. There's so much distance from the pitch. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on. And of course, if they lose Lingard, they're already 1-0 down in a lot of games. I think he's had a tremendous sort of impact there.
He had an impact, but then the last 5 or 6 games went fairly
Less so.
quiet.
Less
But
so.
what I would say is, Moyes. I mean, we didn't give Moyes long enough.
Yeah, I agree.
When he came to United, but the reality of it was that it was the poisonous of palaces. And ultimately, I think if somebody else had gone in and then Moyes had gone in, he could still be at United now.
Do you think
I
is there?
really believe that could have been the case.
Yeah.
But because he went in when he did, it just was never going to happen.
Oh, he got screwed right over, didn't he?
And then it kind of affected his confidence, I think, and what he was doing. And he went and managed overseas somewhere, didn't he? And then took the West Ham job. Then they got rid of him, and then they brought him back. And actually, once he's given the chance to build what he'd done at Everton, he's proven that actually he can organise a side.
I think his stock is really high now on the back of a second trek into West Ham. There isn't any way that Spurs would go looking for a Moyes. I mean, they could do worse, right? We know they could do worse. Pragmatic manager, pragmatic chairman. could do
I
worse.
don't
But
think Levy.
No,
I don't think Levy
Levy came out and said that he wants attacking, free flowing football. And when you think like you don't see David Moyes' face pop into your head, do you?
no, but West Ham are fairly attacking, free flowing. It has to be said. I mean,
Yeah, but I haven't seen much of them. I've seen what they're doing, but I don't know what football. I don't imagine them.
Good. It's good.
Putting forward like 500 passes in the game. I imagine it's just like a bit direct and.
No. Actually, West Ham's their counter-attacking play is
It's pretty high level, isn't it? It's pretty
really
good.
high pace.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really good. Because they've got a number of players that are doing it. So Bowen's doing the job there for them. Antonio's doing the job for them.
Bowen's a player I rate really highly.
A couple of signings, Suchek, and who's the guy that's playing?
I mean, Antonio up front's been insane.
Yeah,
He's been fantastic.
Yeah, ridiculously good. And again, they probably with the right few signings. Obviously, Lingard is worth 120 million. They want him. That'll cover Kane's
dream on
Kane's left leg insurance. Asa, tell me, what about Mikel Arteta at Arsenal? He's had a bit of a torrid year, but he came out today, despite the fact that it's the first season that Arsenal haven't qualified for any European competition in 25 years. He's come out today after the game and sort of said, look, we're a bit unlucky. We've improved greatly. Last season we got less points but finished higher up in the table. This season, we finished pretty poorly, but actually we've got more points, so we're improving, which I found a bit strange. I don't think Pep would come out and say that.
No, it's been a funny season for them. They've been gloriously inconsistent, which is pretty much Arsenal, I think you can say. I think for Arteta, Arsenal would have been a great second managerial job, not a first. I think it's just a bit too soon for him. I can see the potential. I've seen the potential, the improvements he made at the plays at City, but as the number one, I just haven't seen that step forward. I don't think the players really believe him. From the style, what style of football is he trying to play? I don't know. I haven't got a clue.
Yeah, I must admit, like you, I'm not too tempted to watch them because results have been poor, and you've always, for a long time, Arsenal have been attached with either strong defensive play or strong attacking play. It's generally been one or the other. I don't know exactly what the identity of this team is.
They are just for a while. They've been a very flaky squad.
Okay, so when did Arteta take over Arsenal?
It would have been the start of last season, wouldn't it?
It was mid-December.
Was it?
Yeah,
he's
done a season and a half now, isn't he? I think.
Yeah, but he's not had time to build his team, and I think that you've got to give him chance. I think from what I've seen, you can see that he's a very good coach, and he's got his ideas, but he's still dealing with a squad that was like just completely unbalanced and like didn't have an identity. And you've got to give him a chance to build that identity before you write him off.
I mean, they've got a bunch of youngsters in there. Saka looks really, really good. Smith Rowe looks good. Is it Martinez? I want to say.
Did anyone see the crux of the matter? I think it was last week. Talking about Saka, has the potential to be better than Phil Foden.
Wow,
that made me laugh quite a lot.
Wow. Okay.
He's a good player. I just can't see him getting there.
I think, maybe Arteta's been hamstrung a bit too by his forwards. I mean, none of them have really hit the ground running this season. Crikey, what's the name of the guy who's plays centre forward?
Lacazette.
Aubameyang. Sorry. I mean, he's done nothing this season.
Oh, he doesn't. He plays wide left, doesn't he? He plays the Henry type role.
Yeah, but he came in as a guy to score goals, not to create goals.
And he scored goals. That's the thing. He did score goals, but it's obviously not working in. But like I say, I mean, defensively they've been fragile for a while, haven't they? They haven't got strong defenders, and it's difficult to base a team. You come into a team when you've got no defense to speak of. Yeah. And then you got then you've basically got in Lacazette, Aubameyang, and Pepe. You've got three wingers playing up front.
But you'd have to say though, Stu, listen, he gets another season, right?
Oh God, yeah.
And you got to see some sort of signals that he knows what he's up to there.
But But,
the money they spent,
for me,
you think Pepe 70 million they spent on Pepe?
Oh man,
Yeah.
that
I know
guy
he scored
hasn't
twice.
produced
He
anything.
scored twice today, but he's really not returned for that at all.
Yeah.
When you look about, they go on about players, about clubs spending a lot of money on players, and they're not worth this, they're not worth that. I mean, quietly, Arsenal have spent some money. Big
Yes,
money
they have.
on. Party was supposed to come in and strengthen that midfield. I know
Yeah.
he's had injury issues, but he came in as going to be. He's the guy that's going to pretty much add the strength to the midfield. Just hasn't happened.
So, Lee, you're a Man United fan, though. I mean, how long did it take Martial to really find his feet?
Oh yeah, I mean, we paid ridiculous amounts of money for a teenager,
and I think that Pepe's is going to be a similar kind of player to Martial, where he'll eventually.
What I would say with Martial is, I still don't think he's found his feet now. He's had a couple of seasons where he's scored those, but the problem for Martial is he's not a number 9.
Yeah,
he might think he is, but he's not a number 9. He is again. He's in the Henry mold, which is where Rashford is actually at his best, and for United at the moment, it's where we're seeing the best of Pogba. So we're now in a situation where
I just think with Pepe, he's still fairly young. I'm sure he's not.
Yeah.
And I think he needs a bit of time, and it's like, and he's in a team that hasn't got any identity and struggling in general.
He's had at least 2 seasons.
No, Stu, 70 odd.
Yeah, he's had 2 seasons. He's got to get it. No,
but Des, right? If you're playing in a team that is struggling and doesn't have an identity, then you're going to struggle. You can't just write him off because the whole team's struggling. And if you're one of those players, then
I'm not writing him
he can't
off.
do it himself.
I'm just saying that unfortunately, if he struggles, he's not elite, right? Because
I mean, is this the first time Arsenal have
he's
not
good, but he's not
qualified
elite.
First time Arsenal have not qualified for Europe for
25 years.
20 odd years, yeah.
Yeah, 25.
Yeah,
I mean,
but then
incredible.
they how many years they spent under Wenger not winning anything but coming fourth?
Still,
yeah, but if you ask the fans though, they had a number of successes under Wenger. You know, they've won titles recently under Wenger. They've won cups.
How recently was it? Didn't he go? How many years with Wenger without winning anything?
It was Arsenal were the team that United, were basically their main rivals for a significant period.
How long ago was it though?
Probably last time Arsenal were really fighting for the title.
No, when was the last time that actually?
Probably is a good 15.
When was it like that? But wasn't there something that where Wenger basically didn't win anything for ages, like years and years and years?
But he always got them into Europe.
Yeah, but it's still like for me that's.
Yeah, but
it's not success. It's not glory, is it? You're not winning anything.
But this is the point, Stu, and this is the point that I often make on the show is you start a season and there's the Premier League, there's the FA Cup, there's the League Cup, and there's 2 European competitions. So there's basically 5 trophies to play for. Now, Asa might well say if City don't win 2 trophies, it's been a poor year.
Yeah.
United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal will all say, well, we should be winning a trophy, well, maybe not Tottenham, but to Arsenal, if you're putting Arsenal up at that level, of winning a trophy every year. You're going to get the odd season where a Leicester win the title or win the cup, which was, to be honest, winning the cup this year was amazing, brilliant. But so there aren't enough trophies to go round. So you can easily have a team that you think should be winning trophies, or their fans feel like they should be winning trophies, going without for years.
You can't sort of guarantee a trophy. I mean, what City have done domestically is insane. You can't guarantee a trophy, but you should be sort of, if you're a top club, be able to guarantee European football, because you've got to hit top 7 in the league to achieve
that's the
something.
Point. That's where I think it is now. Is as much as that's not a trophy, ultimately it's still a thing. It's still it's still something that you can strive for. I mean, for West Ham.
Yeah, they've done it, haven't they? West Ham have come in and
they've got the Europa League.
I mean, obviously, West Ham and Leicester have they've made the league more competitive, which is fantastic. It's not just the same 5-6 teams, just doing everything. They've come in there and they're starting to shake it up, which is brilliant to see.
So Tottenham are playing next year in the Vanarama Europa Conference League.
The Intertoto Vanarama.
Is that on a Friday night?
Yeah, but the funny thing is, I didn't realise this is they don't go direct into the. I don't know what are the group stage. They've got to qualify.
Fucking hell!
just to add insult to injury. Yeah,
they're going to have to bring out a fifth strip to take part in that. The Dulux Paints Vanarama Europa Conference.
Check a trade into Toto.
Yeah, but of course, the reality of it is, it's another competition. So ultimately, I'm sure if you asked Arsenal fans or Leeds or Everton that got close to it this season, they would all say, "Yeah, we'd take that."
The issue with not being in there becomes one of A, you make less revenue because there's ironically less games, but B, it becomes harder to sign higher level players because they all want to play in Europe in some way, shape or form. So your story becomes harder to sell. But that is Arsenal. We'll have to see. Look, last question on football, guys. Who's going to win on Saturday? Champions League final. City against Chelsea. Chelsea have beaten them twice recently, right? In pretty important games. Can Chelsea, is there any way Chelsea can do it again? What do we think?
No.
Yeah, what do you think, Lee?
So my hard as a United fan, but my heart says I hope City win it because I just feel the football that they play, the season that they've had, and if you compare the two teams, they deserve to win this on Saturday. But Chelsea have this knack of
beating our second string team,
and it'll be 1-0 off Jorginho's backside or something in the.
Oh, it'll be a penalty. He only scores penalties.
It'll be. Yeah, they've just got this knack of doing it. And I don't. The question I was going to ask Asa is because for a long time, City fans have had issues. Is the best way to, I suppose, with UEFA and European football in general. I know there's a significant group of City fans that have no time for UEFA and they'll boo the Champions League anthem and all that kind of thing. But does it really, is to most City fans it's a big deal? Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is. If you ask us all at the start of the season, the priority is number 1 league, number 2 Champions League. It's that simple. We've won the league, therefore now our priority is the Champions League, obviously. I've got this sneaky feeling we're just going to come out of the blocks on Saturday and just absolutely rip into Chelsea from minute 1 because that is the best way we play football.
Amen. Let's do it. Let's have a good game. That's the most important thing. Brendan Byrne is there in the chat box saying, of course Chelsea can win. Unlikely, but they can win it. Absolutely, they've proven they can beat City. I think it could be a good game because I think Chelsea at their best play free-flowing football. So it could be quite a counter-attacking style game. Looking forward to that one very much. You were saying, did you say something about your B squad, Asa? Do you have injuries ahead of that game?
No. The 2 games we've played against Chelsea fairly recently have both been half-strength sides, I'd say.
Okay, all right. Okay, so you're feeling fairly confident.
Yeah, they've not faced our best 11.
Yeah,
since probably the time we beat them at their place.
Well, I think it's going to be a cracking game. Wouldn't surprise me to see it go in the 120. I have to say, wouldn't surprise me at all. Triplin has been out there as well, patient with us tonight because we haven't got back to him. He has put a couple of comments in the chat box. Most recently, Sufal and Suchek are the guys at West Ham. So they've made a big impression this season. They were bought from the team that knocked Leicester out of Europe, Tris thinks. So yeah, they have done well. So the importance of finding a gem, unearthing a gem, right? That can happen. It doesn't happen often enough. So I think
quick one. If you can find the Sunday Turbo Knockout final table, there is one G MacArthur that is in the last 6.
Don't bother.
Let's have a look. We'll send our scouting team out to have a look. So I have got the turbo here somewhere.
I'm sure we can answer your alienation.
I was going to say, you know what will happen next, won't you? But yeah.
Let's go.
We're just going to knock them straight out, aren't we?
Here's a question, guys. And I know you did start mentioning it last week, but my internet was rubbish. Did you talk much about your like Premier League teams, players of the year sort of thing?
Well, we were gonna try and rattle through one. I was going to actually try and get everyone to put them together, but it started getting quite complicated on who would pick what. But we can try and work through one quite quickly now. So should be able to do 1 to 11 because I'm guessing that most would go for a standard back four with sort of 2 midfielders, then 3 attacking midfielders and a striker. Yeah.
Yeah, more or less.
I think we'd all have different teams.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I want to play a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3 or a 4-1-5-7.
We'll start the striker and it'll be like, well, I mean, Harry Kane's top, so he'd probably give it to Harry. And Des will be like, no, Alisson should be up front.
Nice. Centre forward, classic centre forward style player.
Yeah, 100%.
Better goals per minute average than Jamie Carragher ever.
He has, yeah, he certainly has, which is quite remarkable.
Asa, have you got
one
an
more
11?
trophy than Jamie Carragher?
Have you got an 11 in mind? Because I've pretty much got an 11.
There was 1 or 2 positions I really struggled with, to be absolutely honest. But I've actually gone for Martinez in goal because I think he's been outstanding.
He was my pick.
2 centre backs were easy for me: Diaz and Maguire.
Yep. Same for me.
Left back, Shaw.
Yep. Same.
Right back was the tricky one between Walker and what's his name? Soufal. Is it?
Soufal?
Yeah, Soufal. One of them.
West Ham?
I couldn't quite decide between those two.
I went Soufal.
I have a midfield 3, which will be interesting because De Bruyne is not in the midfield. I've gone for Mount, Fernandes, and Gundogan because I think they've all had such great seasons.
Yeah.
Up front, I've not got Kane.
Okay.
Purely because I've gone for players who I think have made the biggest impact on their team, and Kane does it all the time. Mo Salah, I think, has had a really good season for Liverpool again. Yep, so he's in. Yep. De Bruyne, obviously, as the false 9. And my other choice would be controversial, but Jack Grealish.
Yeah, see, I looked at Grealish and trying to see how I could fit Grealish into his side because I think he's had a very, very good season. Do you think he'll be at Villa next year?
No, I think, to be honest, if before the injury, he was one player that I was looking at in the league that I was going, I'd really think I'd like to sign him for City.
Grealish. Where would he fit into
Grealish?
I mean, who
and that's the challenge. Where would we play him?
Yeah.
He can't get in the City team, surely.
No. I think he would strengthen the squad, definitely.
But that's like a Mahrez, I guess, where Mahrez came in and strengthened the squad, and it's taken a few years before he's then, really.
Yeah. So I've heard a fair few things like Mahrez might want to leave, which sounds stupid, but that's a couple of things I've heard recently. I've got a feeling that Sterling wants to go abroad fairly soon.
But who would take Sterling? I mean, who's got money abroad to actually be signing anyone?
Exactly. Yeah. Everything a year ago was Real Madrid. But now I've not heard anything recently. But a year ago, Real Madrid really wanted him.
I mean, don't get me wrong. City signing Grealish would be so petty that I'd love it. It'd be brilliant. Just I'm going to spend £90 million on Jack Grealish and put him in the under-23s. It'd be fantastic.
Well,
just to hear the Liverpool fans cry.
Well, our under-23s won the league. Their league, and so did the under-18s. So we're doing all right.
Sorry. Can I just remind Asa that how many years ago was it now? It's like near to the day that Man City lost 8-1 to Borough.
I'm very aware of the date. Thank you very much.
Did Philly Foden not make it into your 11?
Nope.
Oh, that surprises me.
You can't put a sub in the starting 11, can you? I mean,
no, he's not. I don't think he's a sub. I think he'll start the Champions League final. I think he'll start.
Absolutely.
This is the difficult. I had Kane up front with Salah on the right, Fernandes behind, and Foden on the left.
I'd go with Foden. It's the only real query I had in your selection, Asa.
Yeah,
Kane would be a big miss. I have to say.
Yeah, if it was based on the second half of the season, Foden for certain. There's a big difference between what he did at the first half and what he did in the second half. Yeah. I think Gundogan for 15 games was out of this world. But all the others to me, the others have all been much more consistent in their performances. Yes, Foden now is unreal. The goal, if you guys saw it against Brighton, just the pace when he's got the ball is scary.
Yeah, and I don't think he's even close to, his potential yet of what he can do. Interesting from Tristan in the chat says feels we need a crikey. Tristan, are you allowed to say that? Feels like we need a Leeds player in that 11 from either Dallas, Bamford.
No, he's not allowed to say that.
Yeah, Dallas has had a very good season.
Look, you're more likely to get J.R. Ewing up front. It's not going to happen.
No,
but
no, it's Leeds. No,
but let's quickly talk about Leeds though, because
can we not?
It was great. I thought it was great today that the fans got to see them, play in the Premier League. It would have been imagine if they'd have got relegated this year and they all that time waited to go up.
We just lost G-Mac. Straight out.
It would have been one of the funniest things I've seen in my life.
Yeah. But what do you think about Leeds next season? They've got potential to develop on again.
No, they're going to struggle next season. I genuinely think so.
Yeah, they'll run around loads again. Because that's what Leeds do, but they haven't got the quality in the team to actually do anything because they just haven't. I mean,
I think.
Would you say most people would argue that they're if you wanted to watch a game, you'd pick a Leeds game because it's going to be entertaining because they're either going to skip a load of goals or they're going to score a load of goals.
Apparently, I would disagree with most people. I'd rather never watch football again than watch Leeds play.
I just think they might struggle to get away with that for a second season in a row.
Yeah.
Sheffield United looked like a really good season.
But do you think that's the people who find them out? Is that and then work a tactic to play against them?
Yeah, and I just think from a pure motivational thing, if you're a Leeds player, it's your first season back in the Premier League, you're completely up for it. You're creating shocks all over the place. I think if you come back with those expectations for the second season, it could be tougher. I just, can't help think of Sheffield United. They looked like a pretty decent side 2 seasons ago. Mm-hmm. And look at what's happened to them this season. I mean, they've fallen away dramatically. So, and
the second season syndrome, isn't it?
I wasn't expecting this at all, but there were questions being asked of Bielsa. Are you going to sign your contract? Are you going to stay for another season? He's not answering the question. Is there some risk that Bielsa might not be there next season?
He doesn't like. He was like that after they got promoted. I mean, he's like a bit flaky, isn't he? He just wants to. He's weird. He likes bouncing about and trying to prove himself everywhere.
We are going to have a bit of a management merry-go-round.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been. What's going on at Wolves?
I'm surprised.
Well, surely Nuno's going to Spurs.
Well, that was what I first of all. Funny if Tristan and I were chatting about that the other night on Messenger and saying surely it's he's not going to admit that's where he's going, so he can have a proper final day with the fans. But then in a week or 2 weeks' time, it's a done deal. They'll just leave it for a while and then announce it. But who knows?
I don't think so. He doesn't really strike me as a Spurs manager.
No, but he plays that style of football. He likes his players to get the ball down and play football. Yeah. I think he comes with a pretty powerful agent friend.
Yeah.
So he can go and sign loads of really good young players from again. He can go and get like a Traore from Wolves and take it with Spurs. And he'd probably do quite well.
But Wolves have got to be very, very careful because if they pick the wrong manager next time round, next season could be really tough for them.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really tough.
Yeah, agree. They are in a little bit of free fall, having been extremely strong for a couple of seasons. They have to be careful. Any of the likely promoted teams likely to make an impression? I mean, a bit of deja vu. All of the
it's yo-yoing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was nearly going to be all 3 that got relegated back up, but unfortunately, Bournemouth had
didn't they?
just had a stinker of a second leg. They took the lead, so they were 1 up after the first leg. Took the lead in the second leg, went to 1-1, then had a player sent off. And it's one of those kind of the player was through on goal, so he's but would he have been better off just letting him have a shot rather than having to play I think they ended up playing about 70 odd minutes with 10 men, and Brentford got another 2, and that was that.
I don't understand what Bournemouth did when they sacked the manager and put Jonathan Woodgate in charge.
Seemed a strange one to me.
Woodgate, as a Borough fan, I know it's because he nearly got our club relegated to League One. He's not very good.
Would Eddie Watson have a chance at Spurs?
He's rumoured to have was Celtic, wasn't it? But that I don't know what happened.
See, Celtic would have been a better fit. I don't think he's. I don't see how you can get a team relegated from the Premier League, then go into one of the top 8 biggest clubs in the Premier League.
Yeah, it's interesting. His stock was very high though with Bournemouth, wasn't it? He played a nice brand of football, didn't spend a lot of money. Was good in front of the camera, all of that sort of stuff. He's very clean cut, which seems to matter.
I think it matters a bit too much for me, but
perhaps
he's probably got a little bit of the potch about him, which might be something that, because there's a lot of Spurs fans that just regret ever the day they got rid of him.
Yeah. Took them to a Champions League final. I mean, that was a great footballing team. I mean, how Spurs have actually failed to win anything over the last 5 or 6 years is mind-boggling, if you ask me.
Yeah,
I mean, it's almost a crime.
Strange to say. So you mentioned that GMAC, unfortunately busted in 6th place, but he has said in the chat, he's which is an ongoing joke of anyone who's been watching the show the past few weeks. He's becoming a more and more expensive date. So so GMAC, about 4 weeks ago, was on step 1. He cost us $5.50 token. We were like, it's a cheap date. That's no problem. Well,
no.
He's going to be in the top 20 this week again, Des. So he's on step 4 at the moment. So it's going to cost us a $55 ticket this time round. No. But it means next week he's playing for the big one.
Oh, well, good luck next week, Gordon. Let's hope you get there, my friend. A lot to look forward to. Any other headlines from the top 20, Lee?
Tony Ross has done it again. He's going to be in the top 20 again, and he's on step 5. So he's going to pick up another $109 ticket. I think Konstantin Grob is going to be from Germany. Is going to be top. I think he's had 2 wins this week, but he's only on step 1, Des. So that's a cheap one for us. Not a problem whatsoever. Eddie Niaksu is going to be was on step 3. He's going to be in the top 20, I think, this week, and I think Di Farrell is also going to. Is going to be there as well, so she's going to move from step 3 up to step 4.
Sweet.
So got a fair few that are going to be playing for some big tickets.
Oh, well done, guys.
Week. We've just got to confirm with Party whether next weekend is going to be a championship weekend or it's going to be the weekend after. So we'll double check that tomorrow and publish in the group once we know for definite.
That is a cracker. Did you guys see the Sam Allardyce interview after West Brom's last game or their second last game midweek? Seemed a bit sore. Seemed a little bit sore with the world.
A little bit salty.
Yeah, they let him go. Surely, I mean, surely he didn't not, want to manage in the championship.
You don't want a full season Sam Allardyce in the championship, do you? It's just like it's how to annoy your fans.
Yeah.
I got the impression though. I mean, obviously Allardyce is still very bitter about the whole England situation and what happened there, and I think he feels hard done by in the way that all came about. But ultimately, I guess Allardyce must be of the view that every year there's going to be a club that's going to be down the bottom and is going to ditch their manager in December, January time, and he can come and take a nice, lucrative, short-term contract for 6 months. If he keeps them up, great. Everyone says how brilliant he is. If he doesn't, well, so be it. I wonder whether he just sees that as as a perfect role for him.
To quote himself in that interview, he said, "I've become the Red Adair," and I'm sure 95% of people watching went, "Who? Fucking who? Red Adair? Did he say Red Adair?" He said, "Yeah, I'm a bit of a troubleshooter," and and then he sort of complained that it was the media that were profiling him in that way, even though that's how he presented himself.
Said, whoever was doing the interview, he said, "Well, he was, very much, you are saying it's me." It's okay,
not me.
I met him a few years ago. I met Sam a few years ago through work, and I'm delighted to say he's exactly exactly how he is in front of the cameras.
Oh,
A
God.
grumpy old sod.
I'll tell you what, look, guys, if there's one thing to learn from the Sam Allardyce Book of Management, and that is that if you reach the top of the hill, if we consider England manager being the top of the hill, and why wouldn't we? Don't go to dinner with people and accept the money, right? Just say no to the money. Always say no to the money because, frankly, you might win a World
Where
Cup.
do you think England would be if that hadn't have happened and Allardyce was still...
Who knows?
A damn sight worse off than they are now, I'd imagine.
No, but seriously, who knows? I mean, who knows?
Playing 4-4-2.
It'd be like Mike bloody
But again-
Bassett.
but again,
England will
who
be
knows?
playing 4-4 fucking
Maybe
2.
that's the
Benson
secret
and
to
Hedges.
international football. Maybe it is because you've had some amazing managers in recent years, but you haven't actually won anything. You haven't even got close to winning anything. Maybe you need a dour sort of, we're going to
Well,
play
they had a semi.
ace
To
at
be
the
fair,
back.
to be fair, they had a semi-final last time out. I mean, give him,
Yeah,
give him,
Is an Ireland fan talking about people not winning things in
I'm
international
not an
football?
Ireland fan. I'm an Irish man. There's a difference. We're not fans. We're born. We're there. It's in the blood.
You have my commiserations, but it's
coming from Wales, we just celebrate if we actually qualify for a final. I mean,
Quite right. Absolutely nothing
happy.
wrong with that at all.
It's just it's a jolly after that. To be honest,
how's the Wales manager getting on at the minute?
he's you're not allowed to mention him. Apparently,
Still not
in
banged
the
up.
media.
Everybody knows he is, but he's not. Listen, guys.
He didn't make the 23 player shortlist for the Hall of Fame. Put it that way.
He's still awaiting a call.
Can't work out how. He's, as far as he's concerned, he's made more appearances than nearly everybody. But apparently too many off the bench. That's the problem.
I sat down today, guys, to watch the game. Right, watch the game, really up for it. I said to Sean, it's the last game of the Premier League today, Sean. This is it. It's done. And she said, is that it then? Is that it for football? And I said, well, no, we've got the Euros coming up in 2 weeks. So I obviously got a mouthful for that. Can either England, Wales or Scotland have a good Euros tournament?
I think one of the three can.
I think as a Welshman I think England could win it.
Yeah.
I really do.
It's our best chance for a very long time.
Yeah. I agree.
I feel this feels like a golden generation for England. Once
can we not use that term again? Please don't use that.
This is a urine-coloured generation. But outside of the fact that you actually have a very strong pool, they seem to be well together. It seems like the mistakes of the past where United players and Liverpool players and Chelsea players and all of that nonsense would be kept apart. And, it seems like none of those mistakes are happening. Southgate, I think, has been really good for England.
Yep. That's his Borough. That was his Borough upbringing. That.
Yeah, but listen, on top of all of that good stuff, you've got the fact that maybe Spain aren't, as hot as they have been in recent tournaments. Germany don't seem to be as strong. There doesn't seem to be any one country. I mean, there could be any number of countries, Belgium being a classic example, who could be very strong. But there doesn't seem to be any one in particular.
I think
England, France.
England's attacking players, that you could pick any 4 from 8 or 10, and I don't think it would be that weaken the side in much way. They all bring something slightly different. This is the problem: is when you talk about who's going to be the left attacking player for England. Well, you've got Sterling can play there, Rashford can play there, Grealish can play there, Mount can play there.
Sancho,
it's like you're like, wow, the talent is there. If anything, I guess they're slightly weaker in central midfield and probably centre backs. I think full back wise, Shaw's had a very good season, so I'd imagine he will start. On the
it's
right,
him or Chilwell, yeah.
Yeah, on the right side, Trent, I would imagine is
they don't think a lot of people don't think Trent will get in the squad. Never mind. The team.
Really? Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I think England have 4 very strong right backs.
Is it because
I think the feeling is that what Trent gives you going forward? Yes, great, but actually there's some concerns over him defensively. Which
he can't defend, can he?
Be. Well, he can. In fairness, I wouldn't have an issue with him defensively, but I can see why. You might say, well, Reece James, maybe Kyle Walker, and if you're going to have a 3 in the, you're going to play 3 centre backs, Kyle Walker helps you there as well. I just think there are questions as to whether they bring 4. Wan-Bissaka, I mean, is he still in the mix? Presumably,
No.
He's out of the mix. Well, there's one other right back.
He's only out of the mix because he's not. He's had a great season, and I think defensively he's probably the best right back in the Premier League. But going forward, he doesn't bring enough.
Yeah.
And so great as a one-on-one defender. And maybe that's the reason why I put it, but he's not been in any of the squads really to get much of a run out. So I don't see how you all of a sudden bring him in now, because he's not had an absolute blinder of an end of a season, and you think, wow, you can't not play him. Although he has got better coming forward.
It'll be interesting to see. So are we giving the Scots or the Welsh any chance?
No,
we are. I think the Welsh squad is probably not as strong as it was last tournament round. If I'm honest, and we're still heavily reliant on Bale. We've got some youngsters coming through, but I don't see it's going to be there. Scotland, I think, could be dark horses. I really do think they could have a potentially good tournament.
So they're opening, I think, against the Czech Republic, right?
Yeah, they've got their big. Yeah, they've got a big game, but they've got they've got a number of I think Robertson's world class player. I think they've as a left back, but they've got Tierney there as well, so they've got to try and fit both of those in, which is not always easy to do. But they've got a number of players out of the Rangers squad who are obviously on a high at the moment. They could just come in, and if he can get the team together and gel together.
It's interesting. One Brendan Byrne is in the chat here, and he says, it's a joy being an Irish fan. We can go to a tourney, get one decent result and party, as opposed to one bad result and cause mayhem. And he's absolutely right. That's the Irish formula. So I think the expectations on Scotland will be quite low, and I think they have the capability to slog it out. Scotland aren't going to be beautiful to watch, but they could potentially slog their way out of that group because they're going to be very highly motivated to play England at Wembley in their second game.
This is still all being played. This is still being played all over the place, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is. It is. Triplin says, I think Trent has played himself back in recent weeks, but he was super struggling. Absolutely. GMAX says we have a tough group, only see us winning one game. So if you win one, but if you get a draw, 4 points could be enough to get you through. Because I think 4 of the third placed.
Yeah, doesn't it work that the top 2 plus third, and if you're fourth and you're called Germany, they still let you through, and there's all sorts of ways.
Lee was talking about Scotland, saying they've got some like Rangers players in there, and it's like, yeah, but. I was going to say I don't want to be this person, but I don't really care about being this person. There's not much quality in the Scottish League. There's 2 teams in it. I mean...
Yeah, but the point is, though, Stu, is sometimes it's, has been proven...
Gel as a team, right?
Yeah, I mean, the Welsh team just gelled as a team. The quality wasn't necessarily there. Iceland...
Yeah, look at Irish teams of the past.
But Wales had Bell, who was an undisputed world-class player.
Yeah,
especially at the time.
Look at Northern Ireland in 2016. Yeah. They went into the knockout stages of that.
If you can be organised and you can be going in with some confidence and and play properly as a team, and not be overawed by the whole situation, then there's no reason why you can't put a few results together. And as we're saying, we think potentially. GMAT thinks it can only win one game, but if they could win one game and draw one of them, I mean, Scotland could just easily go and frustrate the hell out of England.
I think, look, if they got 3 points against the Czechs in their opening game, they've got 2 games to get a point. I think a point probably gets them through. So they could do it at Wembley, albeit I don't really fancy their chances there. Maybe it's in the last group game.
But it's with any of these things, it's up and down. As you said, Des, I mean, Belgium's still ranked number 1.
I think they probably are.
Yeah, but again, they've got a lot. I mean, they've got a lot of strength and depth of their squad, but they've not yet really,
correct,
kind of dominated like the French or the Spanish or the German sides of years gone by.
Well, they haven't actually won anything. They've had deep runs and they're a great team, but they've never actually done it. So that can't help their confidence. But they'll go in as one of the favourites, I've no doubt. Maybe we'll get a team like Greece. I've no idea whether they're playing in this one, but going back to when was it, 2002 or 2004? maybe we'll get a surprise winner. Who knows?
Well, Denmark.
I think
Denmark was the biggest one, wasn't it? Who actually only
the Laudrups.
Yeah,
who only got
qualify,
into
right?
the competition. Yeah, they as a last minute replacement, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I do think that the whole thing's between. I think England and France are the kind of clear favourites for it. I think
the French side is that strong.
Yeah, they've got a lot of quality about them, like in a lot of positions.
They've recalled Benzema, and
but
honest,
he's still
strong.
a quality player. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but he looks super strong. But he hasn't played for them for 5 or 6 years because of the
Germany. Do you see Germany brought Hummels and Muller back?
Really?
Haven't played for 2 or 3 years, and obviously he's leaving as coach after this tournament, and he pretty much just said, they weren't in my plans, but screw it, we're
one last hurrah.
at the moment. So
Thomas Muller must be about
you've got a 26-man
86.
squad, isn't it? You've got those extra 3 places, so you can.
Yeah. But Thomas Muller, has been around for a long time, but he had a brilliant Champions League with Bayern Munich last year. So he's still very impactful.
And just talking about European players, we should give a quick shout out. Lewandowski scoring in the 90th minute to break the all-time Bundesliga scoring record.
Some player in.
Did he? Wow. Yeah, that's impressive.
They won 5. They were 4-0 up at half time, and then it was 4-2. And apparently they blocked just everything. The keeper had saved it, and he needed one more to break Good Muller's record, I think it was.
Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive.
And it's goals in a season.
So how many did he score in total?
I want to say 49 or something like that.
49 sounds
that's
right.
Incredible.
49 sounds right. Yeah.
That's incredible.
I mean, just phenomenal. But of course, he's at some point. Bayern are going to have to replace him at some point.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how old Lewandowski is now. Must be gone past.
Got to be 32, 33, I'd have thought.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's that old, but I think he's probably
Sounds
around
like
30-ish.
he's about getting to the sort of age where United might sign him on a free. That feels about right. Yeah. But I wonder whether at some point he'll turn around and say, "Do you know, I've been playing in the German league all my life. Yeah, I fancy trying something different." I mean, Bayern are on goodness knows how many titles in a row now. It's
boring. That's what it is.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's been interesting. It's spiced up. Obviously, Atletico Madrid have won the La Liga this year, which means is a little bit broken that Barcelona.
Yeah, I like that
Real thing. Inter Milan winning the Serie A, although they did spend a lot of money, so you'd like to think they would have done it. Obviously, Juventus stuck in. Asa and I were chatting about this before we came on air, because I'm still going on about the Inter Milan Juventus game from a couple of weeks ago, where Juventus got the softest penalty referees in somebody's pocket you've ever seen in your entire life.
You can't say that on the air.
Oh, I seriously. Well, Asa,
are we not allowed to say Italian football?
You said you got a friend who's a Inter Milan fan, yeah?
Yeah, he's a good friend in Macclesfield, and he's followed Inter all his life.
Good solid Inter in a fan base in Macclesfield, I imagine.
Absolutely massive. And basically, he was. There was no other word. He was fuming, and I reminded him of something, which is, you may have lost today's battle, but you actually won the war, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, very much so. But Juventus have snuck into the Champions League spot, so they've managed to just.
There's a shock, isn't it?
Get in there. I mean, what is it about sides that have late runs and probably don't deserve to be in the Champions League spot, and there they are come the end of the season, eh?
Finishing third.
Yeah. How did that happen? Yeah.
So the big
question for you though, Des. So I'm not sure where Liverpool's. Let's go for. Was it the 6th straight home defeat in a row?
Mm-hmm.
At that point in the season, what were you genuinely hoping you would get out the rest of the year? Bear in mind, Champions League was probably not going to happen. So what were you hoping in the league?
Look, I'm still Mr. Optimistic, right? I'm always, you all know me as Mr. Optimistic, right? So I was still hoping for Champions League. I really was. Did I think we'd get it? No, but it's got to be the hope. I mean, some guy tagged me on the Twitter after the game today in a post from a month or 5 weeks ago where, a bunch of guys were sort of saying, I was talking about Newcastle beating Leicester. I said, okay, this is good. Newcastle beat Leicester 5-6 weeks ago. And some guys going, look, you're nuts. There's no way we win.
Yeah,
6 or
you've got
7
a lot
games.
you've got a lot of stick for that. I remember seeing that.
There's no way we win 6 or 7. And on top of that, it's disgraceful performance this season. We don't deserve Champions League. And I simply said, look, Mr. Dick Fingers, we do the maths. We do the maths at the end of the season. And if we're in the top 4, we deserve it. So, Dick Fingers himself came back today and said, I'm going to hold my hands up. You were right. You were right.
I'm going to hold my dicks up.
Yeah, but this is the point. The league table can't lie. The league table can't lie unless you're Brighton, because the stat that Des quoted last week was insane. Yeah.
Oh, it's true.
GMAC's coming back. Stu, you're in a whole heap of trouble here now.
Oh, am I?
He says, have you seen the Scotland squad? There are a raft of Premier League players, granted not world-class, but decent players. Robertson, McTominay, Shea Adams, McGinn, Tierney, Fraser, Armstrong, Fleck, Phillips, as well as the Rangers Celtic player. Seriously, Stu.
He's got a point.
He hasn't got a point. They're all average.
He's elbowed you in the face. Now, obviously, his arm has just bounced off of your foliage, but I think he's got a point.
He hasn't got a... No, they're not
it feels like that scene in Train Spotting where Begbie chucks the glass over the balcony and waits for it all to kick off.
But meanwhile, some poker is finished.
Yes, it has. Sigmund Haminder from Germany picks up the win in the final one of the night, the Turbo Knockout, beating Daniel Muller Nicolini from Brazil into second spot. So very well done to them. Yeah, there was some poker going on. Shall I explain what's happened and where we're at?
Unpack.
Here we go then. So 4 events tonight. So as I mentioned earlier on, our friend from Brazil, Wando Santos Wadama, picked up the win in the deep stack. James Ball from the UK picked up the No Limit Hold'em main event win tonight. Picking up, and we didn't even mention the prize pool in that. He picked up nearly $800 bucks. So very well done for that nice. Tonight. From the PLO, we had Sofia Fernandez from Argentina, who picked up $380 and the PLO win. And finally, as I just mentioned, Sigmund from Germany wins the Turbo Knockout. So the leaderboard's done for another week. Constantine Grove from Germany is top of that leaderboard. Very well done to him. He's going to pick up 3 lots of $5.50 tickets. Get in there. Very well done to him. Picking up 2 tickets each. Brendan Byrne, he's on step 3. So well done to you, Brendan. James Ball, his win tonight gets him up into 3rd place, actually. He's had 2 cashes this week, though, so well done to him. He's only on step 1, so he'll pick up 2 tickets. Eddie hung on in 4th place. He's on step 3. He picks up 2 tickets. Mark Shepstone, who's been playing quite a lot as well. He had 4 cashes this week, so very well done to Mark. He picks up 2 tickets. Mentions to others, Gordon MacArthur, he's up to step 5. Tony Ross is on step 5, so he's picked up another ticket. Di is moving up to step 4 next week, so she'll get paid tickets this week as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So we'll do it all again from tomorrow.
Oh, fantastic. Well, well done to all of you guys who've won prizes this week. Tony Ross, incredibly. He's on that bit of a run
we
now.
might just have to think about some sort of direct debit. Might be easier.
Or we'll talk to Party and maybe try and get them to ban him for something. We'll find something.
That's an idea. We could do that, to be honest.
That's very easy.
Do we know if he's provided his ID?
His KYC? No, you can't. I don't think he has. I don't think he has.
Yeah, sorry.
We'll have to look. We'll have to look into that, Lee. We'll have to look into.
Because you've got to watch those Ilfracombe poker lot. Yeah,
absolutely.
We'll have. I'll tell you what we'll do, Des. I've got an idea. I'll message Yanni and see what dirt he's got on him. He must have some dirt on him. He must know something. Yeah.
Unless he slips you and I, Lee, one of the 109 tickets each, right? If he can feed those tickets back into us.
I like it.
Do you know what I'm saying?
What would you do with yours, Des? What would you do?
Oh, Lee, badly. I would do badly. That's exactly what I would do with mine. Badly. Anyhow, we'll talk more on poker at another time. Probably not too much because we don't tend to talk too much about the poker. Big up to Stu and to Asa for joining us tonight. I have to say, guys, the hour and a half went very, very quickly. I could sit here and talk about football for another hour and a half, but alas, we've all got beds to go to. So thanks again, guys.
No problems. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good luck to you on Saturday, Asa. We'll all be watching in, I'm sure. And I don't know, Lee, if there isn't anything else.
Wednesday, Des? No. Nothing.
Wednesday. And
Nothing
on
on
Wednesday,
Wednesday.
of course, we hadn't thought about this, but the Thursday night trophy final has been played out between Vanarama and Manchester United.
Could you imagine if you
In
not
Baku.
made top 4? Oh, the abuse you'd have got next season.
Champions League, baby!
Des, which European final are you playing in this week? Like Liverpool.
Mate, I have got my feet up. I am feeling very, very happy. Did you see? I mean, you always get this on the final day, right? When at the Champions Leagues and stuff. I mean, you'll have seen this on telly, Stu. But Chelsea were out, then Leicester were out, then Liverpool were out, then Leicester were out again, Chelsea were out. It's drama. Love it.
It was good because it could have been quite a boring final
Oh
day.
yeah,
Des, you say you had seen it on TV, but I was playing cricket in Billingham in the rain, so no, I didn't.
Not out, so we hear, Stu. By the way.
Yeah, 2 not out off 5 balls.
How many did you score?
I scored 2 off 5 balls. I was playing the captain's role and letting everyone else do the work because why have a dog and bark yourself?
Quite right. Quite right. Well, that sounds
Do
like
you have a runner as well, Stu? So
I wish I'd honestly with mine. I've worked. My working week was 67 hours. I think it was this week.
Jesus Christ.
So quite frankly, could have done with it because I can barely walk. But obviously had a day off to go and stand in a field and get rained on and clap a lot.
That's right.
And then now I'm back at work tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock.
Well, I can understand how the likes of Jurgen Klopp complaining about his players playing twice a week. I can understand how that gets your goat.
But the football, the football's not going to be over because I have a feeling we'll be talking plenty during the Euro 2020.
I do think you should do like a lower league football thing one day for the people who don't care about the Premier League because we actually spot proper teams.
We can talk European football. We'll get Paul on because he can talk about Warsaw, can't he? So
exactly,
that's in Poland, so that'll be fine. Not a problem.
And I think when Aitor Krank was our manager, we were Real Madrid-Middlesbrough.
Bring back the feather, Ravanelli, the best player you ever had.
No, what?
Ravanelli, numero uno.
No, we had Juninho,
was fantastic.
Probably the best player in the world at the time and got robbed by Gianfranco Zola for player. Anyway, let's not go down this route.
Well, that's a really good point to end on, guys. Right? I think it is. So without further ado, thank you, everybody, for joining us. Lee and I will be back in a week, and I'm sure, I certainly hope, we have reprobates like these two on with us to make it entertaining. Gute Nacht.